close to that brawl. They still ended up dropping that round because the defense was able to get their guns together so quickly and put out that damage onto 07. So I definitely think it has to do a little bit towards defense. Now, as we get into the first battle, lineups have come in. Defense, 4 Eclipse, photo finish in a 113, an IS-7, 2 5As, and 3 bat chats for the rest of Eclipse. Teal Team 6, on the other hand, a Kronwagen, 2 5As, and 4 bat chats, and no scary, spooky skeleton today.
Ooh, not
sticking with
one
their
in sight.
Yeah, sticking with their same starting lineup they've used all season for the most part. Supernova stepping up here. Viral has had some very, very good matches so far this season, but also had a few games that just didn't work out for him. And then Zombie Food, you know, one of your old favorites from back on his Googly Bobber days, showing up.
He was incredible back in the day. Like, honestly, that guy was on a real streak. And we got to meet him. He got to show his personality, you know, that whole deal. So I think we all kind of got attached to him back then. But he's been much... It doesn't feel as though he's as involved. I can't say that... It's not exactly like he's not playing in the matches, but he's not on any face-offs, and I'd love to see him join us again. Maybe say, hey, how you doing? As we follow T1 making the... Oh, no. T1...
He can get out of there, I think.
Yeah, he can. That sucks. But sometimes this will happen. We're going to move off of him, head over to Positive, who ended up taking the opening scout runs.
Yeah, now look at this. All heavy tank and a Batchat pushing, and the Kronwagen all pushing straight up the middle for Teal Team 6, getting that Kronwagen in there. He's going to be able to start working that ridge. This is one of those things that we were talking about on the pre-show. Specialty tanks for specialty positions. Kronwagen, ridge working tank, hold down tank. It's going to be perfect along this berm. Really be able to pump out some damage as long as the rest of the team can support him. So shots are being exchanged. Photo finish does take 1. However, they are going to be able to get behind this little berm, and they should be able to get to the right angles to stay safe. Thing to keep an eye on here for the defense, though, is look at those 2 bat chats in the south. They are currently rotating out, and they will be able to open up some shots on the rear of these tanks if they can get down far enough into the south.
Seeing, actually, it looks like Emu's going to be heading onto a flank position with Bananas and Zombie. Now, what do you think of this? Do you think this is going to be able to pinch out the Drawcab and Dark God Zim, currently hiding kind of as a mid-hold position, or what do you think? How this is going
well, if the biggest thing before we get to that is the Batchats in the middle there along the G line, 2 Batchats are pushing right now towards the single Batchat from Teal Team 6, so he's going to be isolated, but they're not going to wait for it. They're going to push straight through. They're going to go over to photo finish, and they should be able to focus him out. Those Batchats have the clips. 5A is going to have that 490 Alpha. They need one more shot to put them down, and that's going to be the first pick for Teal Team 6. However, Batchats are going to keep pushing towards those tanks in the middle. Kronwagen taking a beating. He's down to a 1-shot. Dark God Zim picks up the kill.
And there is a little bit of a mid-fight going on at the same time. It looks like we're going to lose Viral and Germ. Pressure onto the left hit.
Positive wins the one-on-one with Supernova, and that's going to leave Eclipse in a very good position. 5 guns alive, 7,000 HP. They are in control right now. Only 4 guns left alive for Teal Team 6. Bounce shot there off the front plate of the left hitman from Dark God Zim.
Yeah, and this 5-on-4 Zombie Food, look at where he's going into the backfield. That's not a bad position if you need to get some damage. Zombie does fire into Dark God, and if he can follow this up with a little bit more damage, just enough.
And in the north there, No Nick, No Skill, trying to play Ring Around the Rosie. But guess what? He only has 3 shots, so he has to make them both count to take down the kill, and he does. And now Emus is going to push around into Drock. They know that this is the only chance they're going to have to even this out. Emus lining up the shot and takes him down, and that is going to tie it up 3 apiece. HP has come back a little bit more towards Teal Team 6, but still up in favor of Eclipse right now. 500 HP up.
Yep, there we go. T1 tries to land a little bit of an ambush, but looks like...
Struggling right now. It's a second bounce. Gets a pen. He backs down before he takes another shot of damage, just before those tanks reload.
And that's going to mean 3 tanks for Eclipse and a kind of a triangle around Teal Team 6. So they're going to have to play this very, very carefully so as not to overexpose themselves, get caught out, anything like that. But I've seen people flip on that jump accidentally. You have too.
Yep, and No Nick does reload and look at the position No Nick's in. He's going to be able to get up on that berm, and he might be able to kill Emus on that ledge right now. He gets 1 shot into him. Great penetration. He's going to get 1 more. Down he goes. Nice. And Love Hitman misses this return shot onto No Nick, No Skill. So that should put another nail in the coffin. And Eclipse should be able to hold on to close this out at this point.
They may be able to. Looks like Positive finds Zombie Food. That's perfect. And landing that first shell was all he needed.
Bounces 1 actually.
That could change the whole game right there. If he...
This is a 1 shot versus 1 shot right now.
Who's going to land it?
Who can get teammates here to support them? The Batchats are actually going to push around onto the Love Hitman in the distance there. They might be able to get that kill, and they do. T1 Diabetic takes him down, and now it's only a matter of time. Now this is going to force Zombie Food to make the play. He's going to push around. He's going to miss the first shot. Positive's going to line it up, but no! Zombie Food's going to get the kill, and it's going to be No Nick from downtown that's going to pick it up and trade it out, and that is going to be 1-0 in favor of eClipse.
Nicely played. Although I do have to give it, Teal Team 6 brought a decent play there. I felt like the north side flank was
Pretty
rather
strong.
effective. They didn't hesitate when they finally met some kind of resistance, right?
The reason why they didn't resist was because they had their one Batchat in the south that spotted the two Batchats from eClipse. They knew that that was going to be an extra gun in their favor in the north. Even if all the rest of the guns from eClipse are up there, they knew they still had that one extra tank because those Batchats were in the low ground at that point. So that's why we saw them just go up and over right at that moment when they were spotted.
Perfect. Makes perfect sense. All right, now we're going to flip sides, and we're going to do this one again. So,
and we should have post-game stats popping up here in a second.
Whoa, it's not populated.
oh, and then we've got Luke, our other observer, is going to give us those in just a minute. And we got 60 seconds to the next battle. So we might not even have time to talk much about those stats, but I see you're going to bring up the in-game
We
post-game
can bring up the
stats
in-game
there.
stats. So looking at the damages, No Nick, No Skill, 3,100, 3 kills. T1 Diabetic, 2,200 and 1 kill. The Love Hitman, almost 4K for Teal Team 6.
He lived till pretty close to the end, if I remember correctly.
And there we go. Here comes the stat bug.
Yeah.
90 fantasy points. No Nick, No Skill, another 88. Remember, he had a fairly big match day on Tuesday. T1 Diabetic, 50. It's respectable. And then poor photo finish. Really got focused out early on. Only got 1 shot of damage off. So overall, 2 shots of damage.
Yeah.
17 fantasy points. And we are just a few seconds away from moving on to
Actually,
the next battle.
The last thing you brought up, Photo Finish not getting to deal much damage. Photo's one of the best players on eClipse. And so just looking at the way that battle ended, Photo going down with that little damage dealt that hurts.
Yep, and looking at the lineups, eClipse is going to come in here. 3 5As, 3 Batchats, and an AMX 13105. Teal Team 6, on the other hand, 2 5As, 3 Batchats, and 2 Object 140s.
2 Object 140s?
So
I'm
bringing the double Russian medium.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I love Russian mediums combined with some Batchats, but actually no, I don't have too many problems with this. Do you? Do you have a huge issue with bringing the
Not
2
the
140s?
140s. The one I disagree with is actually the 13105.
13105, really?
The
Why
French light tank.
Why?
It's basically just a smaller Batchat that doesn't do as good of Batchat things.
But
that's the simplest way to say it.
Okay. I'll tell you this. I tend to enjoy it as a tank. I like the advantages that it gets as a light tank. I would tend to agree with you that I'm skeptical that it can perform all that well here on Sand River.
The main things are going to be the camo value. That's going to be the main thing, but you're going to lose out on the gun.
Yeah.
So the only real justification I could see for bringing is if they know they can put it in one certain spot, maybe on cap, or to light something where they really want it to shine. It comes to, once again, to that conversation we had earlier about specialty tanks. That's definitely one of them.
What I could think is its camo value might give it a little bit of advantage spotting over the Batchats, just enough to the point where they might have mapped out a few ranges wherein you're around that 500 meters, and you're going to just kind of get just close enough to spot a Batchat, but he won't be able to spot you because he's on the move still. That could be the tactic, and that might make some sense.
Yep. So looking at the setups here, Teal Team 6 pretty dug in. The 140 is up in the north where they can really work the gun depression and the turret armor. And the thing to look at in the positions they're in, for the most part, they'll have pretty good coverage on that whole north lane. So if they spot them, they can get several shots off with a hold down, and those Batchats really won't be able to do anything against them. Now, the one-on-ones, close range, that's where those 140s will be able to come out and not do as well. The Batchats can get in and close. But if they can keep this at a medium to long-range fight, the 140s are going to have the advantage just because of that consistent fire.
Absolutely. Now, look at this shift that's happening in the east side of the map for Teal Team 6. See how Zombie Food's covering Supernova and the Love Hitman as they move into the 0 line?
Mm-hmm.
That tells me Teal Team 6 feels like there's probably something happening in the south, or something coming in that direction. And because Love Hitman is now spotted, I think that Teal Team 6 feels pretty confident in that call. Although the 140 and A4 sheds some doubt on that kind
Yeah,
of.
well, Eclipse is really working that middle and south area. You can tell that's where they want to make the play out of. The other thing to notice is that D2 spot where the Bat Chat and WZ are sitting. That's basically going to shut down the whole left side of the map between the north rotation and anything in the 6th line in that middle area. So if they can get some tanks on cap, what they can do is from this position they can screen the cap and start shooting tanks trying to get those resets. Now the disadvantage is they're extremely separated from the rest of the team. So definitely something to keep an eye on because there's still 3 medium tanks for Teal Team 6 up in the north.
And now that photo finish has kind of shown himself there in Gulf 7. He's kind of 1v1, put a shell into Love Hitman, not really anything else. He's backing off now. It looks like that reaction from Teal Team 6 is going to start coming in. And there you can see emus spotted, moving down south. Little cap pressure from, we'll actually jump over to him, that's No Nick. No Nick's just chilling out near the cap, but he's only doing this to kind of bait. And we haven't seen an actual 1 cap by going to the south cap this season yet for any teams in the WGLNA.
It used to be an older strat, especially at the camo values, that we'd use tanks like 416s.
Yeah.
And then also the other thing that was used in the first season of Tier 10 was something like a Object 260 with a very strong upper front plate. Put it hold down. And if it doesn't have a weak turret, you can sit there, and even if they can spot it, it can take a few shots before it gets penetrated and gets reset. It didn't always work out, but that was the theory.
Yeah, so tanks like an IS-7.
Yeah, IS-7 now would be ideal. It wasn't as strong.
Oh yeah, back
then.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Although, look,
that's why Object 260 was preferred. That was also when reward tanks were allowed in League, which they're no longer allowed. If you remember back then, we had T-22s.
Oh yeah.
Very strong tanks. Those are no longer allowed either. But they're not quite the same tank they were back then. Meanwhile, these tanks starting to exchange shots in the middle. Love Hitman looking for some shots on photo finish and Germ. Former teammates there from Apex, former season champions, still playing together.
With him going for that hatch right on the 5A. So James, let's talk about 5A versus 5A and a hold down, and what you're trying to do. Like, what is photo finish trying to do right now? Where are the important points?
He's going for the hardest shot, which is going to be on that commander's hatch. Now, in these hold downs, sometimes it's better to just not even take the risk of taking damage and just back down. Just keep your presence there. Know that if they poke up too far, they will get punished. But don't actively try to go out of your way to get those shots off. Sometimes it's better just to posture to keep those tanks back. And Germ's doing pretty much a perfect job of that right now. He gets that shot off and he backs down. And now these two, in photo finish him, can just kind of keep here. And it looks like they're actually going to roll forward. Nope, they're going to back off. Had me guessing there for a second. They might try to dump over into the Hitman.
Yeah, it turns out he was just trying to.
But here goes positive. He's going to dump over. The heavy tank's going to be a little bit disjointed. That Bat Chat's going to be able to get the clip out. But look at all this return fire. The Bat Chat's in a good position. He's going to go down, and they don't even get the pick onto the Love Hitman, who's still a one-shot.
Yeah, and look at that. Photo finish and Germ are starting to follow up. Put some shells into Greg. Pressure is going to go back towards the cap, it looks like. And on that 0 line, there it is. No Nick moving up into another berm to get some cover. So there we go. Just step at a time. Eclipse is just getting closer
and they're
closer.
still up. They're still up in HP. They still have a 500 HP lead. Love Hitman still needs to go down though. He's a one-shot. He's the easiest tank for them to get a pick on, but he knows that, so he's going to sit back and not expose himself to where any of these tanks can get an easy shot. If they're going to find the kill shot on him, they're going to really have to commit. They're going to have to push over, and they're going to have to take some damage from some other tanks to do so.
So look at this also as well. Look at the 140s. Banana's just taking shell, about 360. These 140s are going to be in a great position to just cover and just put fire onto anything and everything that pops its head up, like just a constant game of whack-a-mole. And I think that actually might be effective in putting a little pressure here onto Eclipse. Eclipse does seem to be a little bit slower than I thought they might be against Teal Team 6, if you know what I mean. It seems like if they wanted to, they'd be engaging faster, but they have to respect those 140s. You can't just roll out in the open because they have enough DPM that you can't just roll out and just win.
Yep,
you're going to pay too much.
The 13105, look at the position he's on cap right there. He's going to be on that right-hand corner. He's in the open, but because of that light tank, because of the camo value, they're going to struggle to light him and or get a blind set shot on him. But he's going to get spotted now, and he's going to just back off into cover. A little bit of a risky path there. Might have taken a little bit of damage if he hit that hard enough, but he's going to stay alive and keep his HP. And now the HP lead that Eclipse has is only 200 damage. As I say that, they take another shot, puts it back out to about 600. Germ's going to cross in the open to get up against this berm. They need to try to do something about Emus, who keeps poking up and getting those lights. No Nick is already committed over there, but he's taken a few shots of damage, so he has to be careful. So now it's going to be Germ. It's going to join him.
Yep. Germ getting in that position. Once he's there, do you think that'll be enough that this cap will actually happen, or do you think this bat chat push of Zombie Food, Greg, and Supernova, which I can see coming a mile away by the amount of cover they're knocking over, looks like, yeah.
Oh, Drock needs to get into the fight, and so far they've failed to kill Love It, man. And Photo finishes reloading. He bounces one off the back of his tank.
Whoa!
He gets the kill finally, but ends up going down, and now these bat chats have committed, and now it's going to be up to Eclipse to clean this up. They are still down on the guns, though. It's 5-6 right now. Emus is a one-shot. He's down to 35 HP. These bat chats for Eclipse are still reloading, though, and the consistent fire tanks for Teal Team 6 are really coming in effective right now.
Yeah, Zombie Food and Greg are having to back off, and there's plenty of pressure. Nice track shot is going to catch Zombie out in the open, and I don't think he's going to be able to live through this one. Nope. In fact, takes an extra shell, just to be sure. And that's going to leave Teal Team 6 in a fairly weak position. It's hard to cover your allies right now. Germ is overextended, gets cut down.
Teal Team 6 looking good right now, up 600 HP. Looks like they're going to start taking the aggression onto T1 Diabetic. He's going to pick up the kill, though, onto Emus. And now it's up to No Nick, No Skill to keep T1 alive. He's going to back down. And Viral's going to pick up the kill. And now No Nick's going to push in. He's going to get a penetrating shot and back off. 475, a little bit of a low roll. Greg taking the shot of damage in the back. And this is back and forth, but it's a 3v4. This is still in favor of Teal Team 6. Can they close on? No Nick, great pick there onto Greg. And Viral failed to penetrate his shot. And No Nick is a one-shot and does go down. Now it's just down to Dark God Zim in this little light tank. Is it the little light tank that can, or is he going to get shut down by the end of the wall house right now?
Well, that driving won't help, as he just puts himself right.
And that is going to tie it up 1-1. Teal Team 6 holding on the defense on Sand River, putting a point up on the board. I said during the pregame that Sand River is a map that I think favors the defenders heavily, even with a significant difference in team's ability and where they are in the league. I think that definitely defense is very doable, unless you're playing Elevate, but anyone's in trouble on any map. This is Elevate, so that's an irrelevant point.
Fair enough. What I found strange about that entire play was Eclipse took their time getting into positions.
You have to be methodical, is my thought.
I didn't want to say that there was anything wrong with that, but it took a little while, and while they were kind of taking it at a comfortable pace, nothing wrong with that. Teal Team 6 ended up taking the time to figure out what was going on and actually better prepare themselves for the eventual attack that was coming. That's the only point out of this, is that it wasn't so much that Eclipse in any way has made any mistakes in this battle.
Yep.
It's that Teal Team 6 actually was given enough time to do what they needed to do. Had they not been given that same amount of time, I wonder if Eclipse would have gone down, or if they would have been successful on that number 1 cap.
Yep, and German No Nick were the top damage dealers for Eclipse that game. But past that, nothing that really strikes out too much, especially from Teal Team 6. They played very well as a unit that game. Every player was useful, got their damage in. Even the lowest damage dealer was the left man, who had played a really crucial position early on, 1300. So overall, good stuff.
Overall, what else? What was that? So the 140s, we were talking about that before the battle, James.
Yeah. Viral, 2,400, 2 kills, and then the other one of Banana the Wall Host getting another 1,500. So respectable. Once again, it's, sometimes it's not necessarily about the individual performance. It's how they play as a team, and they all got consistent damage. They all covered each other, and they did a good job at keeping the Love Hitman alive for way longer than he should have been, in my opinion.
That he should. Now, moving right along, we are just about to head into battle number 3. It is just 1-1 Eclipse versus Teal Team 6 on Prokhorovka here. And
lineups are going to be 4 5As and 3 Batchats for Eclipse. Teal Team 6, 2 IS-7s, 3 Batchats, an STRV 103B, and Viral playing that AMX 13105.
So the 13105 making its appearance once more. Based on what you saw of it last time.
Light tank things. That's really what it comes down to.
Light tank things. This map makes perfect sense. I'm betting he goes all the way to Echo Foxtrot 1, and that's it.
I tend to disagree.
You don't think he's going there?
Not in that. He may go there, but I think the T100 is a better light tank. Is my opinion on the matter.
Oh, I won't disagree with that. The T100 is fantastic.
Yeah.
The
so
13105.
Unless there's something, just one little characteristic that I'm missing that they're really going to use out of this 105, the 3-shot clip, the lower alpha.
No, the 3-shot. Here, I was just about to say that. Okay, thank you so much, because the 3-shot clip is exactly why I like the 13-105. So what you do, your play style in the 105 is, I get into a bush, just like Viral, good Viral, and then Viral will sit here, wait for someone to be exposed. Now notice where he is as opposed to where most other scouts are going to hide. It's an ambush. Put 3 shells out. Think about any autoloader that has more than 3 shells in its clip, and tell me how often you get to fire all of those shells in a single engagement without taking any damage. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't happen. If you have more than 3 shells in your clip, and you go into an engagement, you're never going to deal all that damage without someone firing back. So the great part about the 105 is it doesn't let you make that mistake.
It doesn't. The key thing there is it doesn't let you make that mistake, though.
It's great.
The benefit is the bat chat can punish harder. Say the other person makes a mistake. They miss that shot. The bat chat then has time to get off those extra 2 shots. If you have the obedience to know how many shots you can fire before you take damage,
no, it's great,
having
dude.
extra shots is a benefit.
Yeah, but...
I mean, I see your point. I agree. But once again, I said last game, I feel the bat chat... The 105 just does what the bat chat does, just a little bit worse. It is just the way I see it. Now, the light passive capabilities
real quick, though. Real quick. I think we need to look a little bit towards the middle of the map, because I want to watch the scout. I love watching scouts. But we need to pay attention to the main push of Eclipse. The main push. Sorry, James. I didn't mean to go.
No, you're all good. And 5A pushing up here.
The crossover right here. No Nick takes a little damage. That's because of the bat chats stacked up in the middle.
Yep. And notice the Sturb is over at A3, so he's no longer going to be able to have shots until he repositions. So definitely keep an eye on that. And it looks like he's already moving, actually, pushing straight down the middle there.
And it's just going to be probably step by step, just bounding up the east side of the map and holding a strong position. That's all Eclipse is going to try to do here, guys. And however they execute is, well, that's what we're about to see. Drawcab's out in the open. Germ is in, I don't think he's in defilade right now. I think he's actually on just kind of a flat plate to get shot at, but no one's there to shoot. And Zombie Food is going to find Drawcab. Positive and T1 are able to get into position.
And Supernova firing from the bushes. He's not spotted. Now he's spotted after he fires another time. So they know he's there. So now we're going to have to see how they deal with him. They can use that riverbed to a certain extent, but Drawk, already down on HP, he's not going to be able to live through that.
Yep. And Supernova is going to just try to stay hidden. There's a tiny piece of cover in front of him. Looks for Drawcab. Positive and T1 are on the way down. They're screaming down the hill. Perfect. Focus on your target. Slam into it. Get that little extra bit of damage.
They can get the momentum going and get under that ridge so they cannot take any more damage. Dark God Zim is going to close as well. And that 105 is actually going to head all the way to the south to try to open that up, maybe get on the hill, open up some shots from the backside. And
get in there before the bat chats that are in the north get a chance to flex back south.
Yeah, and another thing to notice, no cap pressure yet for Eclipse. They took a lot of time to clear out this side of the cap. They've paid a whole tank and some damage, but they don't have the actual cap pressure going yet. And now that 105 has been allowed to get into the backfield, he can really cause some problems. And look at that, Dark God Zim's actually heading that direction right now. So we're going to get that one-on-one. And that could be one of those situations where that 105 is just simply outclassed.
Absolutely could be. Also, look at the 103B. He's going to be playing some sneaky games in the middle on the tracks here as the Bat Jets maybe get greedy. Do you think they'd be willing to do that, or do you think they're going to play the safe? That's positive T1.
They might be willing to dump over. And this is actually going to take a couple shots from the hill. They're going to figure out where Dark God Zim is. Bounces another. But here's the thing, is Viral in that 105, they take the opportunity to go up and over now. But no, he actually backed down. He was worried about the Bat Chat coming over, so he backed down, and no one was going to trade out Emus getting punished.
Yeah, and that's Bananas the wall hose, heading around to the south so he can back him up. With that, they should be able to take on Dark God without any real issues there, but...
The 5As can turn and cover to a certain extent, but if they do, then the tanks left in the middle can push over, which there actually aren't any left for Teal Team 6 there, so they could turn and cover him unopposed. Now, they definitely, a 1v2 was always going to go to the 2, and there's the dump.
That's it. The 5A is finally taking damage. Up in north, Bat Chat's up and over, and focus. You see Greg's position? It's actually really annoying.
But he has to reload. He fired what shots he could, and he's having to bail. And Teal Team 6 are down about half the HP right now, with 2 of their tanks all the way up on the hill, completely out of the fight, as Greg gets taken down, and now they've taken the other side of the map. Now, I don't think they know that they're here, but once they do, they certainly can just go and take that one cap and screen it.
Yeah, and it looks like Viral in that 105 is going to head out to scout. Banana's is going to stay on the high ground. 8,000 hit points.
It's going to be a lot for them to chew through.
But, yeah, it probably won't work out very well, but...
I've seen crazier things happen, but it's not going to happen this way, as Viral already taking some damage, getting a little bit too close there. Dark God Zim looking for the shot, takes another one. Viral just pushing straight up and over, and there comes Positive, and they should be able to clean Viral up in just a second. Down he goes. It's just down to Positive.
Seeing what he can get. Nice. So Banana's now on reload. Just gonna sit and wait. Maybe do something stylish. What would you do in this situation, James?
More likely than not, he's just trying to burn some time, but I don't think it's going to matter because Twin Dive X can come over, find the shots on doing the rest of the team's going to be able to support, and he's going to get evaporated.
Come on, Bananas.
Misses the shot.
Style points.
Bounces
Bananas.
another, or track shot anyways. And down he goes, finally Positive. So overall, good stuff there from both teams, but Teal Team 6 having too many guns out of the fight for too long. eClipse read it well. They got that pick onto Supernova. I wasn't necessarily a big fan of that, but sometimes making that one-on-one trade, giving up, all right, we're going to give you this tank, but we're taking this tank out. It's not so much that you're trading gun for a gun, it's that you're taking a position on the map. Sometimes saying, I need to make sure that I have this east side of the map. You have to go, all right, I'm going to give up 1-5A, but I better take down a batch shot. They did. They ended up picking them down. So I can't really argue with that, especially as the attacker. And then they closed it out very well after that. Viral out of position didn't help. And then pulling a second bat chat to get him behind. The question you have to ask is it worth taking 2 guns out of the fight to get that flank and let them be out of the fight for as long as they work? So that was a solid probably 2 minutes that Viral was out of the fight to get in there.
You're right.
And the bat chat coming around, it's a gamble. Now eClipse don't know that that's happening, but they also have the information of what's in front of them, what they've spotted, and they can count tanks.
Well, look at the damage dealt. 816 done by Viral, right?
Yep.
He fires total of 3 shells.
Yep.
The entire opening portion of the game, he didn't get a chance to do the damage that he probably wanted to. Later in the game, he didn't really get the opportunity.
And we'll get back to that in a second, because Positive coming up big there, 3,500 and 5 kills, 126 fantasy points. Not bad. Nonik having another strong game. And then it drops off pretty significantly after there. The one credit I will give to Viral in that 13-105, 5 spotted that game. So 5 of the 7 tanks of their team was spotted by him. So that, making the light tank work, however, wasn't able to be a damage dealer in the long game. And then at the end there, I'm not really sure what the logic was, trying to drop up and just straight over. They knew where the tanks from eClipse were, and he kind of closed, got a little bit too close, took some damage I don't think he necessarily should have. However, at that point, you could argue that it was already over and insignificant anyways, but there's still, for me, part of it is if there's still a chance, you want to fight to the best you can and still try to fight, not just throw in the towel.
One of these days, it'll actually work out for you.
Well, 2 seasons ago, or 1 season ago, Pompous in the batch shot on Ghost Town. Everything said he shouldn't win that. 3v1, 3 HP, comes in and wins it. Do what you can to fight out as long as you can.
The point is, we have seen crazy situations.
Exactly.
Before. So hold on.
And
maybe
that wasn't that crazy of a fight. It was a 2v4. HP was in favor of eClipse, but only by an extra couple thousand.
Yeah.
If they had gotten one good hit off of the bat chat, got one clipped one out, they could have made that snowball if they played it properly. But once again, tall task, improbable, but you still want to see them try.
All right, real quick, let's get into looking at the lineups. You got an Object 263 on the side of Teal Team 6.
I am a fan.
I knew you would say that. You love that tank.
2 113s, a 5.8, and 3 bat chats for the rest of Teal Team 6. Eclipse, an IS-7, 2 5.8s, 3 bat chats, and an STRV 103B.
All right, so 103B versus 263. Pros, cons, advantages, disadvantages. What makes you bring that 263 over bringing a 103B?
Main thing is going to be frontal armor, speed, and lack of having to set up the
siege mode.
Siege mode, there you go.
And that's in favor of the Object 263.
Yeah, okay. So that's in favor of the 263. And also, 263, it is a very heavy tank. You take an Object 261, you fix the gun facing forward, and you slap on a couple extra tons of armor to the front of it. So when it hits something, it hurts. It is just like the E50M when it comes to being a battering ram.
Yeah, it hits hard. It hits relatively, but not the fastest.
If that thing's going towards the bat chat's sitting still, it will take a significant amount of damage. And on top of that, high penetration is the other thing. Laser accuracy. So it has a lot of things. Not as good DPM as the STRV, but nothing has as good DPM as the STRV 103B.
Look, there's the spotting that that early game is looking for. Nonik is going to be able to find most of the bat
no one's in
squad.
position to help Positive. He is going to go down for free right now.
Absolutely is.
He's going to get maybe a couple shots off, but if Teal Team 6 play this right, they will take him down before he can get off his whole clip.
Although if he plays this exceptionally well, he's going to be able to get off at least his whole clip before dying. And he does. He actually fires every single shell. Nicely done.
That's not bad. That's not bad from positive
He
at all.
didn't connect every single
For
one.
the situation he was in, that his team left him in, he made the best of that he possibly could. And arguably, Teal Team 6 shouldn't have let him get off that much damage. They were hesitant. They stayed in that berm instead of committing, going out into the open.
Yeah.
They weren't sure what was behind him, so they hesitated. And at that point, you know, it kind of pains me to see. However, look at it. They're up an extra gun right now. HP's very close. But now Teal Team 6 have most of this east side of the map right now. But two Batchats are already in behind. This is the difference between the two teams. Last game, it wasn't until the 6 or 5 minute mark that we saw those tanks for Teal Team 6 get all the way in behind. It's the 8 minute mark right now, 8:15. And there are two tanks behind Teal Team 6 ready to go.
Yep, and there we go. We have Batchat's Dark God getting into the rear positions here. If he can get on the high ground, do you think he will be able to kill Zombie or expose him? Because, oh no, actually at the same time, I think this is more important. Look, Banana, Supernova, and Greg.
5As really have to focus up here. The STRV is in a great position to cover. T1 Diabetic, he should get off a lot of damage right now. Now the heavy tanks need to really focus their fire. Photo Finish is backing down. He is just being absolutely abused today. First tank going down in a lot of these pushes, and they're just going to commit up and over. Zerv's going to get a lot of damage off. Drock's going to pick up the kill onto Greg. Banana the Wallhouse is the next one being focused out. Drock actually got up and over the next berm, and they're just pushing through. These Batchats are trying to get in position, but just like Teal Team 6, those Batchats were caught out of position. Even the 263 out of position to a certain extent. Doesn't matter, though. Drock's going to be the next one that goes down, and this is snowballing in favor of Teal Team 6. However, look at the HP. eClipse have been punishing them every step of the way. They still have that extra gun, but HP, they've managed to keep it very close.
Yep, and actually, while that entire move, Teal Team 6 was able to kind of keep Dark God Zim out of the fight for a while, it's kind of started to hobble Teal Team 6.
And they're trying to go for T1 Diabetic, and he's running away right now.
I mean, the 103B is a zippy tank, although I don't know if I agree with him. Nice shot. The Love Hitman taking a shell from Germ.
He's going to get the track shot and buy T1 Diabetic a little bit more time to get alive. Supernova is going to get alive, get away. And now the rest of eClipse are going to close. They know that there are tanks separated, so they're going to try to go get Emus, and they're going to ask the questions of the Left Hitman who he's going to focus on. However, Supernova does finally chase down T1 Diabetic and take him down with that Batchat. However, look at it. Look at how this battle has flip-flopped. Look at that. eClipse now tied on guns, up on HP.
Yep, there we go. Dark God trying to hold back, not getting too aggressive. Germ gets one shell. And actually, this doesn't look too bad for eClipse, does it? High ground position. They've got some pressure on the cab. I guess Emus is a little bit low on hit points.
The biggest thing is they're attacking. They have to do it. And look at all these shots that Supernova's firing. They're going to be counting those. So if they can weather the storm right now, they can definitely make this momentum go in their favor. They're just going to push over and find the kill onto Emus. And now that's going to give them position. However, Emus, or No Nick, No Skill, took a lot of damage to get that done.
That he did. Love Hitman's about reloaded, so we'll see if he can get a shell. Nothing into No Nick, but that isn't Dark God. I'm going to jump onto Dark God Zem's POV, watch him chase. He's got 3 shells. He can't kill Love Hitman, but he can damage.
They know that Supernova's reloading, so they're going to go for the isolation on the Left Hitman. They know that he's the one tank that can fire shells right now. Both Germ and him are going right towards him, and look at this. They're taking different approaches on the ridge, trying to close without taking any damage, but they don't know where Supernova is, so now Dark God Zem's hesitating, and Love Hitman and Germ are going to go 1-for-1 on trades.
So Germ doesn't realize, and I don't think anyone else does, Supernova knows what's up. He understands what's going on. He understands where Dark God is.
But what they don't understand is No Nick, No Skill's still alive. He's rotated all the way over to that one line. He's going to be able to get up on the high ground, and he should be able to find shots onto the Love Hitman or even Supernova if he misplays it.
Okay, this is great support, because what you have to realize here is if he doesn't go down the one line, right, there's a certain level of support that you can't really depend on, especially with a tank this low.
And No Nick's going to go over. He knows that the Love Hitman's looking the wrong way, and he's going to get the shots off. And the Love Hitman's going to dump up and over. And now Germ's going to try to close, and they're going to focus out Dark God Zim. Supernova, great job there to pick up the kill. However, Germ is going to put one more shot. Now Supernova looking for the shots onto Germ, and Teal Team 6 might be doing this. Germ has to back off.
Takes
their shot, and he goes down. And now it's down to No Nick, No Skill. Teal Team 6 improbably managing to claw back into this.
Yeah, No Nick's got to run. He is spotted. Love Hitman's almost reloaded. No Nick is a viable target for just a moment, but he dips into the low ground.
He spotted again.
Let's see. Is anyone going to be able to catch him? We'll use lasers to find out. See those little lasers on screen right now, ladies and gentlemen? Those are where their turrets are facing. Those are the shots are going to be
He doesn't know it's collision course right now. This is over. He puts one in. It's going to take an improbable bounce right now. And that is going to be Love Hitman picking it up. That's going to tie the series up 2-2.
Nicely played by Teal Team 6. I think based on predictions earlier, weren't you predicting this was going to be a little... I was also predicting this would be a bit more of a sweep, or is about 2...
I said if Teal Team 6... if eClipse played like they did at the start of that top-tier game, then I thought Teal Team 6 had a pretty good chance in this game. But if they showed up like they did at the end of that top-tier game, where they were really going, I thought Teal Team 6 was going to struggle.
What do they look like so far to you?
To me, it's middle of the road. Not overly impressed by what I'm seeing out of eClipse. Now, looking at the damages here, hit the Love Hitman, massive game there. 4,300 damage, 3 kills, 96 fantasy points, and then Supernova. Great batch-up play that game.
Really
hats
was.
off.
Yeah.
Did absolutely everything he could. Got away, got unspotted while he reloaded. Made it a mystery where he was. He didn't stay spotted in a fight, which is often something a lot of people do. They count the shells. They know where he is. And they keep him spotted, so they know that they can safely go take an engagement. By staying hidden like that, able to go away, it kind of keeps asking that question mark, making them wonder. So great play by him, 100 fantasy points. Germ, top performer for eClipse, along with No Nick, No Skill. No Nick, No Skill, still having a really good night. He played really well on Tuesday, and he's continuing it right now. So maybe finally over the internet connectivity issues that he was having early in the season, and really having a strong game today.
All right, well, we are going to be moving on to Himmelsdorf next. So what do you think about that as far as our top performers? Photo Finish has been struggling a little bit today. It seems like he's being focused
I don't want to say that it's the fact that he's struggling. I think it's more that the positions he is playing are really making it difficult for him.
Okay, so he's under a lot of strain. He's under a lot of pressure in order to actually get any damage. He's not expected to.
Well, the last game was exactly why he's not performing. He was the tank in the middle that Teal Team 6 just got up and just drove towards. They just smashed him. And so when 6 tanks are on top of you all of a sudden, you're only going to get 1 or 2 shots off. So that's why he's not putting up those same numbers. But if they forget about him, or if, say, it's another teammate that happens to be focused out, expect him to get a lot of damage off. Now, while we're sitting here talking about it, it is actually going to be a timeout called by Teal Team 6, so they're actually pretty happy where they are. And that last game was a roller coaster. You have to look at how the momentum swung back and forth between those two.
Yeah, it actually really did. And that's what makes this kind of fun, because it's always fun to be able to tear apart any strategy you see and just know exactly what's happening. But when you see weird things happening all over the place, and it's hard to just, like, you don't realize that Teal Team 6 is already pushing someone around on the flank, or that eClipse is already attempting to do whatever to reconnoiter, I don't know, whatever. But that's what makes this really fun to watch, is when you have to kind of keep up with the guys.
And the one thing that I find almost ironic was the same thing that was the downfall of Teal Team 6 in the first game of Prok, was the same thing that arguably cost eClipse that game, was the tanks out of position trying to go around on the hill. And this time they weren't even spotted. They didn't know they were there, but they were so far out of position trying to get in behind, and Teal Team 6 just decided to go that at that point...
Well, Teal Team 6 isn't wasting as much time as they would be expected to. A team that's more veteran like eClipse or Elevate, anybody, is going to be almost conditioned to expect a slower paced, possibly less organized, but at this tier, of course, that's only so much. A slightly less organized or slightly slower team. But they're finding out, or at least eClipse is, that Teal Team 6 is actually quite confident today. They're going to be. No,
they're playing great.
Yeah.
There is nothing really you can say that they're not. And actually, we're actually going to have a sub come in right now. Scary Spooky Skeleton going to jump up into the starting lineup for Teal Team 6. It looks like that's going to be Greg that goes down.
Yeah, I believe that would be because Greg is under the weather right now. It seems he's been having some...
He had mono. He looked pretty healthy when we saw him on the face-off today.
I mean, you can maybe put on a smart face. Maybe he's got the makeup going on. I mean, there's so much you can do.
The main thing I would think is Spooky is definitely known as more of a heavy tank and tank destroyer player. And Greg has been a main batch-at player for Teal Team 6 for a while. As I say that, lineups coming in: eClipse 50B, a mouse, a Type 5, 2 5As, a batch-at, and an E3. Meanwhile, Teal Team 6, 2 50Bs, 2 mice, a Type 5, a 5A, and still going on with the 263, but this time played by Supernova.
Why would you be switching that around? And where is that 263 going to go? Hill? Makes sense.
Defense, I would say Hill. Multiple reasons. One, you can put them up next to the castle. Even if their team is just blind firing, the chances of them getting a penetration, very, very low at that range. Say 50Bs. That's something that we saw come into play a lot. 50Bs would go up on the hill for the attacking team. They'd either get spotted or their team would have very good blind fire, and those 50B turrets aren't going to bounce anything. They really, it's luck, really, if they do. 263 doesn't have that same weakness. Also, the other position, we see E3s go a lot to B0, play the hole down there and really lock down that B lane.
Yes.
Even if they're attacking the one cap, by locking down that lane, you make it hard for their team to rotate. And E3 kind of struggles by itself. The 263 is a little bit more manageable one-on-one, even versus, say, a Batchat. Still hard to do, but more manageable because it's a little bit quicker, higher DPM, faster reload, and the weight means that you can kind of ram things. So a little bit stronger tank on that hill position, I think.
And we see also the flat fire going towards the middle of the map on the cross of Alpha 5, Alpha 6. 50 is just like sometimes early game.
Yep.
And some nice spotting
Now,
back and forth.
the one thing I want to point out for Teal Team 6, look at their lineup. No lights or medium things. So the biggest thing they're going to struggle with is getting that intel. So the individual positioning is going to need to be at an all-time high for them to really make this work. The 5A sitting there at that G6 spot, he's going to have some lights up the 7 line and some across the D and maybe into a few of the windows over on the 3 line. But that's all the intel he's going to get. They're not going to have any active scouts. They don't know what's over on the 1 line past what the 5A spotted through that gap. So the lack of intel could make this really hard for Teal Team 6. Now the benefit, though, to not having the lights is they have a lot more heavy tanks, a lot more HP, and a lot more armor that they could use to potentially bully eClipse on the other side. They definitely have a little bit of a lighter lineup.
And you can see right now, of course, Positive trying to do his bullying as much as he can. Very thin shot to try and get hit against him. And nope, doesn't look like the shot can go on through and hit Positive this time. But you know, always. Now, James, at the same time, what are we going to be looking for to see from Teal Team 6? Is this push down south actually going to be effective? Germ's
It
kind of
certainly can be if tanks are out of position. Looks like Photo Finish is actually in the process of driving the other way. Germ is going to be able to turn tail and get out of there somewhat, and Positive's going to be able to get over to the building over there to kind of get that side scraping position and help Drock the 50B, but they really need to be careful, and the guns really need to support them because they're both really exposed if they're able to cross that train track right now.
Yeah, eClipse does have a decent position. It's going to move viral up just a smidge. Once he's up forward into the there's kind of a corner ahead of him. You should be able to kind of just hide his front. But there we go. That's what I was waiting to see. I couldn't tell if someone could fire through the train right there and hit him or not. And Positive does with an HE shot. Now Viral just needs to kind of hold down and wait. But I'm struggling to see if Teal Team 6 is going to make any headway in the south. It's going to be all north, right?
Yep, which is what I was just about to talk to.
Yeah.
They've rotated 50B up to the hill. 5A's taken that 8 line, unspotted, I might add. And so they should be able to start some cap pressure on the 2 cap. Now, by having the super heavy lineup, there's an advantage and a disadvantage. These tanks down in the south, even though there's only 4 of them right now, and arguably probably about to be 3, because I think that 50B is about to flex out. Even if eClipse group up all their tanks, it's going to take them a long time to get down there to kill those 3, and even if they do, the other side of the map is going to be exposed. So what eClipse can do, or Teal Team 6 can do if they're careful right now, is get the cap pressure going on this 2 cap, but leave those heavy tanks there, and they can keep tanks out of the fight and keep this manageable for them to take this 2 cap and get that cap pressure going.
And that cap pressure started. We got a minute 38, Supernova to cover, and 50B, as you called it, is going to flex out. So Teal Team 6 is just creating huge distraction down southwest, while trying to put some pressure on the cap in the north. Now, problem I have is what happens if we just had one person go to delay, and everyone else just goes south and kills these nice Type 5s.
That comes back to what I was talking about for Teal Team 6, the lack of eyes. They're not going to know who's rotating where. I don't think they realize that as many tanks have rotated towards the north as they have. Now, the delay tactic certainly could work, but also you have to remember if they know all the tanks are out of the fight down south, there's nothing stopping them from going to kill or screen from that one delay tank in the north. So I still think eClipse would have the upper hand regardless, or Teal Team 6. They're bleeding a lot of HP now as they push through. It's going to be Spooky and Viral taking a lot of damage. Left Man is getting through there, trying to find a shot in that Type 5, and Spooky down to a 1-shot at this point. Viral also trimming away he can, side scrape. Drop just sitting behind the building. Positive's the one a little bit more exposed, but he's just trying to side scrape, bait out shots. He knows he can take a hit that 50B can't, and they finally take down Spooky.
That's the Type 5 for you. All these times you have just shell after shell bouncing on mice and Type 5s all the time. But the thing about the Type 5 is it can throw a shell all the way down the train tracks, and all it has to do is just touch something. and it can get the kill. Look at this positive peeking out, looking for viral. And at the same time, looks like Nonik in a little 1v1 versus Muse. Alright, look at this, Mouse versus 5A. Is this how you play it?
He's doing what he can. Support for the 263 coming in there on the Nonik. Doing a good job. Nemus might be able to pick up the kill right now. Nonik, well, it's Nonik. That'd be a, you can't high roll that. Actually bounce a shot. So it's Nonik's still a 2-shot for the 5A, but very close. And looks like he's going to have support. The batch had Type 5 come out. Now they're going to finally take the overmatch onto this Type 5, and they should be able to take him down. Needs one more shot. He's going to reload, so Flip might be able to get off one more shot.
He actually gets adrenaline rush. You can see that reload that just did 5 very quickly. This is just because he a little bit faster reload when you're looking. Nonik, wow, he is barely.
He's armor. Look at that damage block, almost 3K so far, and adds another one to it. He might be able to get another shot off. Is he ammo racked right now? Yeah, he's ammo racked, so that's going to be the biggest delay there. Viral taking a shot, and Nonik finally goes down in the distance to Emus. Saw that coming, but look at HP still in favor of eClipse. Teal Team 6, well, I like the setup. They didn't really do anything to capitalize on how spread they had eClipse. They never really kept the cap pressure going. They weren't able to find any gross overmatches to exploit. So it was a valiant effort, but they just bled too much HP on that one line. The North never really got a solid foothold, and they're just kind of left in the middle of nowhere like they are right now.
Yeah, and look at the zombie food moving around from the other direction. And notice this, zombie food did not get spotted, and he did not stop once he's out in the open.
That should be Drock going down. This isn't over yet. Now, Positive's going to get around Viral, and he's going to end up taking him down. And now the HE shot from Voto finishes, goes into zombie food. Germ comes around the corner, puts one into Banana the wall host. Positive doing what he can to aim, actually bounces one, but Positive bounces this too. Germ picks up the kill. What an exchange that was.
This is sloppy in so many ways. But at the same time, I'm seeing these little moves that are exactly what Teal Team 6 needs to do, but they're not quite working out.
Both teams showing a lot of promise, showing the right ideas, but just the execution just a little bit lackluster.
Yeah, it's strange to watch the incompatibility or struggle between the two, where they're just not letting the other quite have what they want.
Takes the HE shot there. And that's the advantage of the Type 5, even though 263 has heavy frontal armor, 400 damage to the front of it. Without really aiming, you can't really blame them.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, though, a little bit too late there at the end. I like the initial setup. I like the theory from Teal Team 6. But eClipse just handled everything perfectly, and Positive. I've criticized him a little bit this season. He's had some really lackluster games, but you can't say anything about a 5,100 damage game. That's going to beat out Nonik No Skill, his teammate, by I think less than like 30 HP from the other day. So extremely good stuff. 2 kills, 100 fantasy points. Drock also having a very strong game down there in the south in that 50B, even getting focused out at the end. Germ also. Germ has really stepped up the last couple of match days. He's been putting up some very good numbers. When he was on Apex, he had that caller mentality, playing a lot of lower tier stuff. His individual play kind of was alarming to me at times.
Well, remember this, there's only so much damage that can be dealt in a single battle, and so if you're taking a larger chunk of that, you can kind of say that, well, it's good to take a larger chunk if you're meant to. If you're in a tank that's not meant to be taking a larger chunk, you shouldn't actually be necessarily saying you're doing a great job if you're doing the most damage all the time. Sometimes maybe you want to say, why aren't my damage dealers doing more? In this case, though, with Germ, he's in a 5A, and the 5A's goal on this map, second to maybe those 50Bs, is probably just to deal damage and be a frontline tank.
Right.
The mouse, maybe you're not expecting
different
as
roles
much
is what
down.
you're saying.
Yeah, it's just different roles.
Okay. So overall, though, like I said, Teal Team 6 asking a lot of the right questions, just a little bit lackluster on the execution. Yep. And eClipse, a very veteran team. They played that very well. A lot of individuals really stepped up. I mean, Positive, the main thing there is Positive. He shut down the South. I remember how I pointed out there was 2 groups that mattered, the North and the South, and those heavy tanks to the South. Positive almost single-handedly shut down that South. I mean, Drock put up 3K, which isn't bad. But so between the 2 of them, that's 4 tanks they stopped and did 8,000 damage between 2 tanks. You cannot complain about that.
Let's look at this, though. We've got the next lineups for this map. We've got now eClipse attacking. They will be bringing 2 113s, 50B, Mouse, a 5A, a Bat Chat, and an FV 4005 Stage 2. On the side of Teal Team 6, they'll have a 113, 2 Mouse, Type 5 Heavy, Bat Chat, an E3, and a T110, E4.
eClipse breaking out the boomstick.
Yep. I guess you're going for a slightly higher platform to fire from. You're going for something that hits harder
The
somehow
mobility
than a
and the
Type
head
5.
shells. Mobility and the head shells. It's going to be able to get up the hill quicker than the Type 5, but have the same effect. It doesn't need to hit a weak spot to do damage with those head shells. It can get around quicker, shut down lanes faster. And keep in mind, this is another tank that's supposedly supposed to be buffed in the near future. There was several variations on the Super Test recently. However, they haven't been announced to the game. But if those do come through in the near future, we could see that 4005 be even more prevalent.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe they'll come out this patch or next patch. Maybe it was just a test. Sometimes they do that to us. Sometimes they just test stuff just to tease.
So it would be nice, though. You could hold the mobility buff, give it a full frontal turret, just like the E4, have the 180 degrees instead of the very narrow arc it has right now. Would be nice. However, enough on that, because we are going to get into this battle right now. Looking at the setups.
Okay, for a second I was so scared that Germ had disconnected and was spinning. Never mind. But he did decide to do some donut before leaving the
So Positive playing that same ramp at G6. Going to get the lights. They're going to see the Batchat up on the north. And so now it's something that T1's going to have to worry about in the 4005. But the rest of the tanks, they went over to the 1 line. They apparently didn't like what they saw or expected to push and didn't get it, and so they're pulling all their tanks back, sending 3 of them to the hill and 4 of them up the 8 line right now. And one of them gets spotted by the mouse. Great spot there diagonally. It's going to get spotted again.
Yeah. Fine now. Where's Bananas position? We need to check that one. Refresh. Oh, I forgot about this angle. Oh my goodness. Bananas reminding us why he's so good.
I hadn't actually seen that one before, to be completely honest.
No, it's an old one. That's an older code that checks out.
So that's going to be eClipse taking the time to rotate up to the hill. And Teal Team 6 actually pulling a lot of their tanks back towards the north to be ready for them. So a good read there. They saw that 113 flexing out. So they knew what they had to worry about. But now actually tanks rotating off the hill back into the south, the Batchat and the 50B. So maybe they're worried that push that they saw, or that rotation that got spotted, maybe they're worried that was going to trigger Teal Team 6 to rotate behind them, try to take up the map, and so they're not to counter push back into that, maybe?
I see where you're going. But I don't know if we can read each team's perception of each other all that well in this moment. Yeah, I don't think eClipse has as much an idea of what Teal Team 6 is doing right now as much as Teal Team 6 is doing. eClipse seems to have an idea, but I think we just look at the mini-map for a moment and just see how spread everything
And the Batchats
right?
in the south, you can see them on their mini-map there. They're both spotting each other, so you need to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
They're actually starting to exchange shots. Supernova down 2, down 3.
Look at that.
Not really taking any damage, so cap pressure is starting to build up for eClipse. And remember how you mentioned the height for that 4005? If you go back to the spot that T1 was in real quick and look at where he's sitting, you can see why the height of that tank actually matters.
Yeah, can you pop over there for me real quick?
So he's actually moved, but he could see over that ledge towards the hold down at A5. So definitely something to keep in mind in the future. Both position out of viral. He's shutting down the north of this cap by himself. Now he is a little bit vulnerable. He could be overmatched. However, the 4005 is going to pop around. He is spotted, and they don't know that this mouse is here. So this could be a free shot for viral in a second. And he's actually taking the time to flex back, or to side scrape. Cap pressure starting to build up. Right now, aggressive positioning on the 5 line. And they found the overmatch onto positive. Photo finish also getting caught out. 113 in the south trying to get some shots in. E4 and E3 trying to join them around in the south, but eClipse have their Batchats grouped up. It looks like they're trying to find shots onto viral right now, but this response from Teal Team 6 is very strong.
Positive sliding into the garage. Just chill out there for a minute. Sorry guys, photo finish out in the open, just totally finished, gets destroyed. All right, now is positive all alone.
Very, very strong response from Teal Team 6.
Yep.
They should be able to find positive. So both defenses holding on here. Has it been 3 defenses in a row?
Yep.
So, overall, good stuff from both teams. This isn't actually over yet. 3v6,
There we
so
go.
it pretty much is over.
Yeah, but T1 smites zombie food. While Drawcab is escaping.
No Nick getting focused out. Drock just trying to run away.
And no Nick.
Good 5-line control from Teal Team 6. They understood that there were some things isolated, and they got a lot of guns to box it in very quickly. They got positive and photo finish, caught out of position. It pretty much snowballed out of control. And T1 Diabetic. Oh, he's trying to find the shot on. Find it.
Wait for
Nova's,
it.
Nope.
Oh, hey, that was still not bad.
Yeah, almost 1200 damage. They're like, oh, sad, but you can't really complain about that much damage.
Yeah, it was not bad. Although you kind of expect whatever the FV points at to just blow up.
It's a mouse though, but you can
Yeah.
see Supernova in the background, like hide me, don't let me die, and you know,
bad chats just
1200. Yeah, bad chats just go pop, just like a balloon. 4005 just. So that's going to be another defensive win in a row, and this is a 3-3 series as we head into our next map, which is going to be Mines, which is another defensively sided map. Randall.
Yes, sir.
We've never really entertained the thought of Teal Team 6 beating eClipse after that last match day.
Why would you continue to entertain such a thought, or why would you start to?
It's 3-3 right now going into Mines.
But James, how could eClipse, a veteran team of many seasons, lose to Teal Team 6, a team from the Silver League?
Well, they're doing it right now. Banana the Wall goes top damage dealer. 3-3 damage, 1 kill, 70 fantasy points. Viral having a very strong game in the mouse. Really shut down that North Cap as well. And got several resets as well, so good stuff out of him. Emus and Supernova, you know, all picking it up for Teal Team 6. And now Drock positive and T1 Diabetic. Top damage dealer, but none of them breaking 2K for eClipse. So if you want to start to ask questions why they didn't really get into that, none of their tanks were live long enough to really get off any consistent damage or put into some positions to really be effective.
So now we're getting on to Mines. I want to move on to that subject real quick. We are looking at those post-game stats. Just a second for you guys. But Mines, a map where defensive-sided yet again, continuing this trend, James.
I mean, this is arguably the most defensively sided map we have in the league right now.
Yeah, it depends on how you view it, because Mines is either just a puzzle that you just have that's different every time, or it seems to be an impossible. It's like if you don't know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, that's what Mines is. I think that's what I should settle on. If you don't know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, it's impossible for you, isn't it? But once you know once you know the tips and tricks, the algorithms and everything, what you're supposed to do, it becomes so much simpler.
The way I like to look at it is, imagine that you build like an impenetrable castle. You just build this giant fort.
No.
And what you do is you say, I have the best fort ever. You cannot break it. And you take your blueprints for your fort and you send it to the other team. And you say, here you go. This is what we're doing. Have fun. That's kind of what Mines has turned into the last few weeks.
I don't know. I don't think of it necessarily that way because there's little variations every time. Right.
A PZ7, 2E4s, a Type 5. This is literally a cookie-cutter defense coming out of Teal Team 6 right now.
Okay, I'm sorry. They picked the cookie-cutter defense. It's not my fault.
Now, what would be a very crazy mind game right now is if they take this lineup. They say, this is what we're doing, but they don't do it. They change it up. They do something just completely out there with this lineup and catch eClipse off guard.
If they do that, they could be fine. Now, the attackers. eClipse. They're going to be bringing those 3-1-13s, 2 mouse, a 5A, and a bat chip. What's that say? That doesn't say I'm going to go...
DPM and heavy tanks.
It does, but it doesn't say to me west side, or at least it doesn't scream it to the heavens. Is it whispering west side?
If you push 3-1-13s down that one line quickly?
I'm just saying, is it whispering it as opposed to screaming it? Medium says I'm going west side. Hey.
It says we're trying to stay flexible to do anything we want. Is the way I read it. I mean, think about that lineup. What strats couldn't they make work? They could just push down the 2 line like they're doing right now, trying to get a pick. And if they're not careful, it's going to go because the bat chat's going to push straight out there. Who is that? Viral. He's going straight over there. T1 Diabetic getting behind the rock. If they spot him, the rest of the guns are in position to punish, so he needs to be really careful, and he's going to back around.
It is a firing line.
I don't think Viral realizes exactly how lucky he is right now.
Yep, that's just a firing line. Everybody just got into position early on to just find something to shoot.
And now the pick never came. They never got the lights. because Viral somehow picked the exact path he needed to not get obliterated.
Yeah.
Has turned around and left, and so is eClipse.
Yeah, he decided to go to the PZ7 spot. And wait, wasn't there there's the PZ7.
Behind the rock in the back, which he's high enough to be able to get some shots over to.
Yeah, if Greg would be so kind, he can't hear us, of course, but if he could be so kind, almost. But he'll show us exactly what that angle looks like.
Nice 7, just sliding towards the hill. They will find the 5A finally. First light of the game.
Greg's really heavy.
But he's spotted now. Greg is spotted. No, he's out of position over here. Well, I say out of position. Maybe this is the intent for Teal Team 6, but he's not at the default rock.
His position is known.
Yeah.
I think we can go with that. Although, look at that. The way the 113s are moving around, just trying to avoid being spotted at all costs. Like, right through the water. Very rarely do we see any teams actually take the time to avoid getting spotted like this. And they're just going to sit on the backside and defilade and just wait. Just wait.
5A and one mouse holding the hill for eClipse, and the rest of the tanks, even one of the mice, is going over towards that one line right now.
Which is very weird, except for the fact that there is one strat, of course, that does happen that involves a mouse going out here. And that's going to mean a 2-cap pressure, isn't it? Or actually, yeah, 2-cap pressure, but the mouse is going to screen the cap as opposed to get on the cap.
Exactly.
He's moving past it. So while
we may see the diagonal approach in the kind of blind shot where he can approach the other team while keeping his armor facing towards all these big high alpha tank destroyers. And once they fire at him, their 113s are going to know that they're going to have that 15-second or so gap to drive down into the south and get into J1 where they can really be effective with those 113s. So the mouse, it looks like he's not going to put any brakes on right now. He's going to go. He's spotted already, so we'll have to see how much damage he takes.
All right. So now we wait. Will they be able to take him out or not? If they do, fantastic. If not, this gets really annoying for our defenders, Teal Team 6. This actually looks good for a mines attack, which rarely have been working this season.
I believe it has about an 80% defensive win rate on this season.
You wouldn't be far off. Nonik actually decides to back off for a moment. And will this... Let's check on our guys over in the mid, right? Let's take a moment and check on Drawcab. Because what he's doing will also be important. We're expecting him, when this mouse goes forward, Nonik, what's Drawcab's job?
So basically, he's going to try to hold the hill as his main job, is to make sure they don't retake the hill. That's the common strat when teams take aggressive one-line position is group up and try to take the hill. Take the high ground and reestablish your map control since you've lost the one line. The other thing is trying to screen tanks rotating towards that 2-cap. He'll have a good line of fire. If you look at it right now, just completely down this 5 line. He'll get shots at anyone. As long as they're spotted, he'll have side shots on them. They're going to be so focused on shooting towards the other side that they're going to have to give up the armor to someone. And Viral actually getting caught out of position, taking a shot. I think he was in the bush, and either blind fire him and got spotted at the last second.
He did. That he did. He got himself spotted. Took a shell. It looks like, I believe... Oh, nice. Positive.
Sneaking another one in there.
Yeah, Positive has managed to do 1,000 damage so far. So he's put shells into Greg. He's put those into Viral. Not doing bad. Not doing too bad right now. Although he is exposing himself a little, and that makes me worry because of where Emus is. Although Emus does
bounces one from the E4.
Wow, Positive. You are a lucky tanker.
That's a horseshoe in the back pocket, that's for sure.
Wow, and a lot of damage into Emus right there, taking him down to 579.
And here comes the 113 push. They are not spotted. They've done enough to back the bat chat off. The mouse is pushed across unopposed, and these 113s, they're getting across. Okay, now they're taking some damage. I thought they were going to get across scot-free. They've taken one shot each, basically. That is a very generous toll to pay.
Viral.
And now they're going to be able to turn and shoot these tanks as they try to push the hill, or they're going to have to back off. And this is eClipse doing the improbable. They are well on their way to taking a win on a mine offense.
And we'll see how it's going to work out. Right now, the angles that I'm looking at from our defenders are not ideal. There's a lot of blind spots, there's a lot of lack of coverage, and that Love Hitman is exposed to Southern Fire. He's going to have to deal with that, and you can see his attention is in that direction.
And also, if we take a look at T1 Diabetic right now, that bat chat,
yes,
he's rotating all the way around in behind, so he should be able to get over towards the 8-9 line. And now that all these guns have to worry about the 1 line, their backs are going to be turned to him. So he should be able to get off a lot of damage from that position. He's just going to get aggressive.
Once he gets in there, he just needs to actually get into position. It's taking at least a good 30, 40 seconds in order to find a good target.
And the 113's finding good damage on to Love Hitman.
And where is that? Oh yeah, let's catch up with Nonik again, who by the way has taken no damage, who rolled across an open field. and nobody shot him.
Which maybe you have to wonder if that was maybe by design. Maybe they knew that those 113s were going to try to go when they got the shots on the mouse.
And they got a little bit of damage in there, but not really enough.
But they held their shots. If they had just fired it with the mouse, chance they wouldn't have penned and they wouldn't have gotten any damage on the 113s. So maybe it was they saw the bait from Eclipse and decided not to take it.
Yeah, but is that still living now with 11,000 to 7,000
Well, that's a question for a completely different story. Because right now, I think that's just the logic. The decision itself, I don't necessarily agree with, and that's going to be another E4 going down.
Well, and that's well played by Eclipse, actually breaking a defense. They've chosen a strategy which has been working recently, and when it doesn't work, it's really on the attackers.
If we go back to my analogy beforehand, they handed the blueprints to Eclipse, and Eclipse came up with a very good read. We're like, all right, this is what we're going to do. And 56 just didn't have the answers.
One, able to put a few shells out, take most of the 6 points. And now only 2 tanks remain, emus and bananas. So I think that that kind of breaks the vicious cycle we've been in.
Well, teams will now have an idea how to break it. Now we're going to do a meta shift again and again. We'll have to see what happens. As these 113s are struggling to kill these E4s. Finally getting another shot of damage in there. They should be able to clean that up. And now it's just going to be Eclipse needing to win one more round to take the win over Teal Team 6. Or is Teal Team 6 going to be able to just flip that around and get a win on offense? I mean, these teams have been trading, so it's a fair question to ask. They've gone one-on-one on every map. Now, it's been the defense every time so far. Teal Team 6 have to flip that around.
Yes, and that's quite a challenge on a map. On a map as difficult as mine. Oh, we didn't notice this. Not until the end. It's actually an ace. That was Eclipse winning without losing a single tank.
That's not what just made me kind of drop my jaw a little bit. Positive, for the second time tonight, broke the 5K mark.
Yeah, and right there, I think Positive is probably the player to follow.
So when Positive gets to play heavy tanks, pick him on fantasy. If he's playing his bad chats, think about it again. But heavy tanks can't say no. 143 fantasy points. He is having a monster of a night in both damage and points.
Wow.
Love Hitman doing what he could for Teal Team 6, the only person on the front page. The rest of Eclipse, no Nick, a strong performance, but not 5K. And the rest of the team after that, T1 Diabetic also having a little bit of a quieter night, not quite as hot as he was on Tuesday. And then moving on to the second page, it's going to be much of the same. Type 5 getting a few shots in there in Supernova. Viral also really getting bullied around. Not really his fault, though, just the position he was put in, trying to get the spots. Eclipse did a very good job at countering it out.
Yeah. I think overall we can look at what Eclipse did and see that they tried some alternate strategies in early game, trying to volley fire out a tank crossing into the west. The goal of that, of course, to remove a tank that would otherwise have been in the way when the eventual west side push came, right?
Right.
Positive, his skill as an individual came into play here when he was on the top of the hill.
Yep.
Without him doing
working all those angles near perfectly, calculating exactly where everyone's going to be, just barely escaping some very damaging shots from those E4s. He bounced a couple off that front plate as well.
Yeah, and that's just understanding exactly every position that's against you too, right? Yep. It's because you know what that E3 or that E4 is going to be able to do, and where he's going to be able to hit you, and why and what you need to do in order to make that difficult, right?
Yep.
Because as a heavy player, you know that's what you do when you peek out. You're like, all right, I need to watch for this angle, and this angle.
Yep. And people so often they get tunnel vision on looking at one angle. I'm trying to side scrape against this one tank, and they don't pay attention to all the other angles that could open up to him. And he played that here perfectly. He knew where he wanted to get the shots off, and he knew every angle that he had to worry about.
All right, now let's take a look at the tank lineups. We've got an IS-4 Mouse Type 5, 5A, a Foch B coming into play, E4, and a T100 LT. So a little bit of everything there.
Now here's an interesting one. Teal Team 6, 2 mice, a PZ7, 2 113s, and 2 Batchats. The PZ7 on something other than Mine's defense. I don't think we've seen that this season.
No, we haven't. I do wonder why you would be bringing the PZ7. Didn't Greg, he was in that tank last time, right?
He was on the last round as well.
Did he just decide maybe he likes it?
I wonder if that's the case. I mean, it's a very...
I mean, knowing Greg, he might actually just like it.
I mean, personally, I do like the tank. However, once again, it comes down to that same conversation we had on the pre-show. There are 2 types of tanks. You need your flexible tanks, and you need your specialty tanks. That PZ7 doesn't really fit into either of those 2 categories outside of that one hold down because of the height. other than that, which unless there's one certain spot we're going to see him play, I don't know what the benefit really is to bringing it. Just like the E5, it's one of those jack of all trades, master of none. It doesn't do anything well enough to justify bringing it, but it's also not flexible enough to really justify bringing it in that case. So this is just one of those tanks that I feel just kind of has a little bit of a lost identity, especially when it comes to competitive play.
Oh. We'll see if it can find its true calling one.
He needs to go see a psychic or something.
No, it's probably go on a long camping trip and do a really bad job at it. Come
By
back.
itself all the way up in Alaska in the deep wilderness.
Exactly. Come back a few years later, you've got it all figured
Or
out.
not come back at all.
I mean, that turned a dark turn, but okay. Yeah, sure. Whatever. Back to tanks. We've got standard defense and nothing happening quite yet, but...
Photo finish playing the spot where we see that PZ7 play a lot. He can side scrape, last a little bit longer from shots from the hill. Positive playing the E4, T1 diabetic, just doing the old stick your gun up in the air and get the spots trick.
Hey guys, look at me. Actually, what's funny is he can actually take shells.
If he gets spotted, which good luck spotting the T100 passive.
Fair enough.
And there's a bush right there that we can barely see because it's
But if
lucid.
I'm actually thinking about blind firing that now.
Yeah.
You could.
Maybe with RD2 could also.
Or Type
if their
5
team
just
brought it.
HE it. I remember artillery pieces used to HE the place right in front of T1 diabetic, like right where he is, like right there. And that would be enough to, you know, take a good chunk of hit points out. I don't think anyone's bringing on either. While we had time before this push.
Yeah, no, it's like Team 6 just setting up for the push. They have their batch hats flexing out. Maybe you're going to go try to do the boost.
I doubt it. Why would you want to? It seems so risky. With Type 5s running around, you know what's out there. I mean, the counters that we've seen so far.
Mr. Man getting deleted.
Exactly, you might get deleted. Why
But
would
these
you
batch
risk
hats
that?
are making the approach right now.
Are you going to risk it though? Why would you risk it? Is it worth it to go up? Is it really worth it? Because if you do go up on the climbs this now, you are more and more likely to have to pay a toll, right? There's almost no doubt in my mind you will pay the toll.
Yeah.
It used to be where if you made the boost, you might be able to.
It looks,
take
instead of doing the bush, like they're stacking up for a zero-line push, maybe trying to go about the west or east side play to really break this defense. Is the mouse is going to push up and start baiting those shots from the tank destroyers.
with a dead driver, of course.
And the Foch B is going to be the first one to start emptying them. He's going to try to angle his tank, but so far, Brock pending all his shots, finally bounces one.
Yeah.
He's
But
going to back off with half his clip. He's actually going to drop his clip, so it's going to make Teal Team 6 wonder because they know he still has 3 more. So he's just going to drop his clip early, so smart play there by drop.
bad chats just letting their autoloaders do work.
Dark God Zim getting caught out, taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's what those bad chats are there for. The Foch B is such a dangerous tank that you have to respect, right? Because we just saw how he just shut down a push. 2 shells right into a mouse's face, puts 1 into the track, that stops him for a minute. And there, now the mouse is down. I think in large part due to
Emus, he's going to get caught out in the open, and this Foch B is going to be loaded right in time. So this is going to be Emus just going down. The Type 5 just trying to screen against the hill. It's going to be Germ puts 1 shot into him. He's taking a lot of, not so much damage, not as much as you'd think he would by now. And there it goes. Now the damage comes in. They're just going to jump up and over as the Bat Chats come in. They're going to just choose to leave, go for the overmatch. They just need to pick up the kill before those Bat Chats can get in position to support him. And Emus doing what he can to stay up along the side. Teammates trying to help out, but Emus is making this really difficult for Eclipse.
excellent play. He's actually going to stay alive. Dark God's going to go down. Zombie Food gets into the fight. Drawcat finds a target in Zombie for a moment, but Emus is staying alive. He does it, yeah. That's an excellent play. I didn't expect it to work out, but there you go.
Extra guns alive for Teal Team 6 right now, but HP is heavily in favor of Eclipse.
Just as we move away, he is down. Viral is ammo rack in his position. He's trying to cover as much as he can, but it looks like he's struggling to find a real target. Actually, it looks like he's trying to avoid a mouse. T1 trying to find an engagement against Viral or Zombie. And the Love Hitman getting in position as well. Nice shot. There's Viral with the shot. T1.
Going to need some individual heroics to come out right now, especially at a no-nick, no-skill, and photo finish. And that's going to be no-nick Viral. It's a 3-on-3. HP is almost twice in favor of Eclipse.
Looks like Love Hitman trying to square off against photo finish.
Bounces 1 off the front plate of the IS-4. Bounces 1 from no-nick. Doing what he can in this behemoth of a tank.
The Zombie Food dies. It was pretty much already written in stone for him. He was in just a bad position.
I
So
like that photo, trying to do what he can, sticking his gun barrel up. And he gets a penetrating shot to his engine deck, but he returns the shot into the Love Hitman.
Nicely played. These are two excellent heavy tank players. Photo Finish, of course, well known for his heavy tank skills. Exactly how you take on that mouse. Get on his side. Force him to do really weird things. This is Love Hitman doing a decent job at getting out of that position as best he can. Of course, it's going to be a little too just there.
Photo Finish picks it up. Now it's all down to Greg, and that PZ7. And that's going to be Teal Team 6, ultimately losing to eClipse 5-3 in a much closer series than any of us had anticipated.
Yeah, well played on many of those maps from Teal Team 6. Motivated, quite confident. However, eClipse is organized. They're a veteran team. It's very difficult to beat them. And while you may be able to take a few battles here and there, we didn't see any huge, there was never a point at which Teal Team 6 ran away with this match. They may have taken a win here and there, but I don't really feel like we felt true dominance of Teal Team 6 over eClipse to the same degree as we felt.
They actually felt a little bit more evenly matched than I kind of thought they would.
Especially the earlier battles. Yeah. I felt like that last battle, there was a little bit less of that. There was a battle here or there that eClipse did ace Teal Team 6, so I think that's important to point out.
Yep, and positive 4K, so another strong game. Just in 3 games alone, he's done 14,000 damage in just 3 of the games, let alone this 8-game series, 77 fantasy points. Photo Finish having a very strong game to close it out. He struggled throughout the night, but 4K, 3,700, 2 kills, 80 fantasy points, not bad there. Love Hitman also had a pretty strong night. No Nick, no skill, continued his hot streak from Tuesday. And Supernova, 2,300 damage, and it pretty much drops off after there.
But, look, oh no, bananas. Poor bananas.
Yeah, that mouse, you remember his job was to push and eat shells, so, I mean, you can't really blame him.
He did it really well?
Yeah.
He died.
Well, let's find out now that I'm just kind of curious.
How much damage did he block?
Yeah, how much did he block? Let's see here. Banana, down here.